Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vegan Brie. I usually talk about all things vegan and cruelty-free beauty, but I also am a 90-Day Fiance fanatic. I'm going to be doing a little recap and commentary on the newest 90-Day Fiance spin-off series, the 90-Day Fiance The Last Resort. Are they going to go home together and reconnect, or are they going to go home alone? This is going to be the most dramatic season, aka The Bachelor, aka this is not The Bachelor. That's what it reminds me of. But also, it's like kind of like couples therapy, kind of like VH1 couples therapy / marriage boot camp on what is it called anymore? It used to be like WeTV or something like that back in the day, Style and whatever it's called. Can't even remember the channel anymore. The previews looked absolutely crazy. All the couples, they're pretty like obvious why they're on there. But yeah, some of them we found out a little bit more information that I was not aware of. And yeah, so they've all been on some sort of 90-Day Fiance series, whether it's 90-Day Fiance, Before the 90 Days, Single Life, Happily Ever After. Yeah, so anyway, like that, all of them, some of them, either they're engaged, they're dating, actually one couple's not even together, or they're married. And yeah, either they were part of the whole 90-day process, or they were originally on the 90-Day Fiance and they got married and now they're not married anymore, or they were on before the 90 days and they are not with that person anymore, or they, got married during the 90 days. So that's the little recap. If you haven't watched any of these series, it's gonna be kind of confusing because they don't really, at least the first episode, they don't really go into each couple. I mean, they go like briefly, but you don't really know, like, you're only seeing like the worst of the relationship. Like, you're not seeing like the happy times or when they met or they're all lovey-dovey. Like, no, it's way past that. So the first couple to arrive is Ed and Liz. They have like a 20 plus year age difference, which whatever. They live in California, like Southern California. I believe it's around San Diego. But they are possibly moving to Arkansas, which is actually where Ed is from. Ed was on Before the 90 Days with Rose. They're not together anymore, obviously, because he's with Liz now, and they're engaged. They've had 2 engagement parties that I know of, and that ring is $13,000, which I'm very surprised he didn't even mention that, because in Single Life, he mentions it like multiple times, and they had multiple fights where she walked off and took her ring off and blah, blah, blah. So they are starting off from the Single Life season finale, which Ed and Liz were on, where Liz found out he was still talking to Rose. Rose is like not interested at all. Like, I don't know if she's just talking to him, like, but yeah, they were still talking like a couple months before, as well as he was on a dating site. But he said it wasn't active and he didn't even remember being on there, but said he was on there that day, so whatever. So yeah, they had broken up, and then they had gotten back together because he had shoulder surgery and she wanted to be there for him and blah, blah, blah. This kind of happened before where they broke up, which, by the way, he's broken up with her like 9+ times. And she keeps going back and going back and going back. And she's been in other abusive relationships. So she's been married twice. She has a daughter who you rarely hear about. I don't think she has custody of the child. Her ex-husband does. But yeah, he keeps like throwing her out and like reeling her back in, which I think is very toxic. So yeah, they're together, and they had the situation happen before where they broke up, aka he broke up with her, and then his dog passed away, which was so sad. And then she wanted to comfort him, so then they got back together, blah, blah, blah. Again, very toxic. So he always makes these, like, jokes. He's not serious. Like, but then he says, he has said she's immature. I hate that word, mature. Like, so I feel like, in my opinion, just because you're a certain age, I don't care if you're older than somebody. You can be extremely immature. Like, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Age, you should mature, but what if it was already a crappy wine to begin with, and it's not going to get better? It's already, if it's really crappy, like, it ain't going to get better with time. That's at least my logic. It can get worse. It was already worse. But anyway, they're Hot Mess Express, but they show up first, and then Ed makes this joke that's not funny. I personally don't think he's funny. Like, not to be rude, but like, I I haven't heard anything where I'm like, whoo, I gotta roll my eyes at him anytime he gets on there, because just like that, because he just really annoys me. He's just very rude. He said, so they were going into the couples therapy session. They were like, oh, how did you guys, fall in love, blah, blah, blah. He's like, oh, well, there's this beautiful woman behind Liz, and then I met Liz. It's like a dig. And she's even said that too, like, he's not serious, and he just always has to make things like he always makes things a joke. But anyway, we haven't really gotten into like the tea with them, even though only thing is that she's on the fence about moving to Arkansas because she doesn't even know if they're going to stay together, because they keep breaking up, and aka he breaks up with her, blah, blah, blah. So then, just because you move somewhere doesn't mean problems are going to be getting fixed. So, yeah. And then then Jovi and Yara show up. He's in his early 30s. She's 28. They have a very cute little daughter that's 2. And he wants to have another baby. She's like, we already have issues with one baby. Like, you're not even really there. He works basically, like, I think it's like 6 weeks on and like 2 weeks off. And then he's, by the way, completely gone. Like, he's on a boat. Yeah, I don't even know if he had service and stuff. That's how they met, was through traveling, when he was traveling. And that's where they said they connected, is because he's like, oh, we have so much in common. We both like traveling. And then she's like, and you reminded me of my mom. First, he's like, oh, I've never heard this before. And she's like, I tell you all the time, I was attracted to you because you remind me of my mom. And how she's, telling me what to do. I like that. Even though, yeah, I don't know if she likes that anymore. So they get there. I think Jovi has an alcohol problem, because he's always like, where's the drinks? Oh, we gotta get a drink. We gotta get a drink. Oh, I need to have a drink. Like, he's just like, boom, boom, boom. He always has alcohol in his hand, which, again, I don't think makes things better. May help you relax, but also can cause some tension. You also can get kind of like not serious and whatever. Then when they get to the hotel room, he's like, oh, you're so hot. And she's like, this is why we're having communication. I'm trying to talk to you. And he just wants to, get it in. And I think they did. But he's like, oh, let's make a baby. And she's like, no, we already have issues. I don't want to have another baby right now because we already have issues and you're already not even there. But they had, during the happily ever after, with Angela, they got into a fight where Angela and Yara are like in each other's faces. So they weren't excited to see each other. But they said they were going to be like, oh, let's put the past, blah, blah, blah. And Ed and Angela had also gotten into an argument where Angela was trying to be there for Liz. They don't really like each other. So, just dramatic people, but even though they were like, let's just squash it. So, anyway, a lot of things happened. But, yeah. So, they didn't really go into that much of Yara and Jovi yet. And then, Kalani and asuelu. Asuelu's in his 20s, mid to late 20s. And then Kalani is in her early 30s. They have 2 children, a 5-year-old, or a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, I believe. Oliver and Kennedy. They bring them with them. Her sister is watching the kids while they're, doing the show and stuff. By the way, this is filmed at Isla de Bella, or Isla Bella, which is in Florida Keys. It looks absolutely beautiful. The water is turquoise. The sand is white. Asuelu runs into the water and is all excited. And then we find out during the couples therapy session that there's been infidelity on both sides. When Asuelu was visiting his father in Samoa, which is where he's from. By the way, they are from 90 Day Fiance as well as Happily Ever After. And I can't remember the season at the top of my head. They've all been on different seasons. There's been so many seasons of everything. But Asuelu went to go visit his dad in Samoa. He went to a bar. I guess he was like going out every night, whatever. He says this girl offers a BJ to him, which she's like a bartender or something. First, he says that they just kissed. Then when he comes home, she finds out like, no, he got a But whoa. You want to know how she found out? So he sticks his tongue out like this on FaceTime. He said it's white, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, why it's white. She's like, well, that's thrush. That's from like a yeast infection. Either you kissed her here or you kissed someone down there. They had an infection. They all, by the way, bunches of couples are interviewed, and they're like, ew, gross. So, yeah. So then he's like, oh, by the way, they are already having issues. So she's like, that doesn't make it better. Like, you cheating, we already had, like, it was already, like, our relationship was already on fire. And then you pretty much just like put like gasoline in it and like, you know, so no excuse at all. And then, so he's like, oh, well, because you're upset, like, why don't you have a hall pass where you just go kiss somebody? She had never slept with anyone before asuelu. I don't know if she did anything else, but like she had never done, you know, the enchilada, the itsy bitsy spider, you know, blah, blah, blah. So she does. She meets this dude online and they didn't just kiss. They did, you know, home run. And he didn't know that until they're going over everything. And there's definitely more to the story. Like the therapists were like, and the experts or whatever were like, there's more to this. So yeah. And they're like, well, we're trying to get better for our kids and stuff, which that always triggers me because so my parents are divorced. I dealt with a lot of divorce around me. I'm also divorced. I'm remarried now. I'm remarried now, but I don't agree with whole like, let's just stay together for the kids kind of thing. Because then I think children see a dysfunctional relationship and then they think those things are normal when it's not. And they see poor communication, people that are miserable together. And again, they think that's normal. So they think those are things that you should put up with, even though I just don't. I feel like someone's miserable or both people are miserable and you're not really communicating effectively. Things are just getting worse and worse, or you're just pretty much tolerating each other. I don't think that's good for children. I just don't. Like, to each its own. Like, you put up with your tolerance is different from my tolerance, but like, I just could not do no more. Like, And I didn't want that for me. I didn't want that for my ex. I didn't want that for my daughter. So I got out. And now I'm in a just better relationship. He's, you know, he's happier. We've even said that, like, we're happier apart, and I'm glad he's happy, and I'm sure he's glad that I'm happy. So anyway, it's not fun to get divorced, but sometimes it happens. But anyway, now she's catching feelings for some guy, and she even was caught texting him like that day. And instead of him being like upset, like that she was with someone else, he's like, was he better than me? Like, that's what he cares about. So then she says that, like, that's what you care about is like that I was with someone else. So you don't care that it was with someone else. You want to know, like, hey, how does he compare to me? So then she's like, well, actually, when we do it, you know, when we do the enchilada, he actually cares about me, you know, finishing, and with you, all you care about is you. Goes, well, that's not always true. That's not always true. I'm no expert over here, but I feel like that is not the goal. Like, you're both having a good time, but like the girl, you know, does stuff. She finishes first before the dude. That's like important. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm cool. Totally like that's just. Anywho's that's what he cares about. So then he's like, oh, well, you're saying it's bad with me, and she's like, well, I'm not gonna say that. But she had never had someone to compare it to because she had never been with anyone else. So anyway, I just think that's donezo. Like, you're catching feeling for someone else, and like you guys are pretty much just going through the motions. Like, and he's upset too because he's like, oh, I'm the reason over here. Even though it takes two to, in my opinion, unless you kill somebody, it takes two to like mess up a relationship because it takes two to also make it better. But you're not making it better, you're making it worse. Anywho's so that was awful. That was just like, and Ed put it the best. Ed was like, it gets from bad to worse to bad worse. And they all were like, no, we never do a hall pass, blah, blah. I mean, to each its own, but like, I just don't think if you're already having issues and communication issues and you're already lying, like, that's probably not going to make it better. Like, two wrongs don't make it right. So anyway, and then we have Michael and Angela. They're finishing off from, I think she's on Single Life, even though she's not single. Anyway, because she was on the season finale. Maybe I'm getting it wrong. Maybe they were on Happily Ever After, something like that. So Michael was talking to another woman and literally saying, like, I love you, and like Angela and I are together, blah, blah, blah. And so it was just a whole mess. By the way, Michael is on a monitor. He's on like literally like an iPad that they're like taking around and stuff. So he's not there. Which sucks for her. I feel bad because like everyone else has a partner there and she doesn't. So Michael's like putting in the effort where it's like 2:00 in the morning during the couples therapy session, but it's still lonely. He's never been there, like in the U.S. He's from Nigeria. That's where he's been the whole time. Like any show he's on, he's been on before in the 90 days. I don't think the 90 days because like they are technically married. So they are legally married, but they got married in Nigeria. And she's been trying to get the spousal visa here in the U.S., but it just hasn't happened. So, and they do have an age difference too, which again, I don't care about age differences. Like, to each his own, you know. Like, you don't choose who you fall in love with. As long as it doesn't matter to them, it doesn't matter to me. So anyway, and she thought that like her situation with Mako was bad, which that's why she says Michael, by the way, Mako. So it's always been in my head, Mako. So anyway, she's like, I thought our relationship was bad, but like Kalani and asuelu, like, and she's there for Kalani. She's like, I can't really give you advice because like I'm in like the same boat. So yeah, she's like, anything I'm telling you, I'm trying to do for me. So yeah, that was just, it didn't really go into it, like what they're attracted to them, even though everyone was like, oh, it's because she's got big, you know, kahunas. So she has big mangoes, like, which she had weight loss surgery and has had surgery to like remove like excess skin and like things like that. And she did have a breast lip, and I think tummy tuck, again, excess skin, because she lost like, I don't know, like over 100 pounds. Like, she looks great. She looked great before, but like now she just seems kind of happier and has more confidence to her. Now that she's got like, she's a tough bee, you know. But yeah, so I think they said they like his personality, blah blah blah. And then we get into Kelly, and also she brought divorce papers, even though Michael does not know. But she told Kalani about the divorce papers, and she's like, just in case, like, it's ready to go. So Michael doesn't know that. So anyway, then we have Kelly and Molly last. They're not even together. Molly is from 90 Day Fiance, where she married Luis, but they're not together anymore. I think not even a year they were married. And then she's not even with Kelly. They're not even together. They have like a couple year age difference. They're both in their 40s. But yeah, so she shows up alone. And then Kelly shows up during like kind of like the cocktail hour, like think about Bachelor, like they're all drinking and stuff. And so they do the whole like mwah, mwah, kiss on the cheek kind of thing. And then she wants nothing to do with him. It's like, okay, I did that, like, go away now. And he gets mad that she's on her phone. Well, irritated, not like mad, like not like a big blow up. But he's like, hey, are you gonna interact with somebody? No, just stop. Don't be an ass. Leave me alone. I'm like, again, disrespectful. And then she does a couple of digs at him, which, you know, again, like, they're not even together. I don't know how long they haven't been together. Like, I don't know when this was exactly filmed. I could probably find that out, put that on the screen somewhere. But timeline-wise, I don't know how long they haven't been together, but they're the only couple that's not actually together. And they're never been engaged. I don't know his whole background, so I don't know if he's been married or whatever. So, anyway, Ed's like talking about mowing a lawn, because Liz is like, do you even know how to mow a lawn since we're moving to Arkansas? And he's like, yes, of course I know how to, like, you know, ride a lawnmower. I used to do that in high school and blah, blah, blah. And then she's like, well, at least he knows how to mow a lawn. Kelly doesn't even know how to do that. And he's like, yeah, because I'm from New York and we didn't have to do that. Like, I think he's from like New York City. I'm pretty sure. Like, I need to put it up again. I'll put it up on the screen where he's from. But they don't, I guess where he lived, they didn't have to mow a lawn, so he doesn't know how to do that. But then she goes into, during couples therapy, how he's like lazy, and she had to tell him what to do, and all I wanted to do was watch reality TV and sit on his ass and like, you know, on the couch and stuff. And while she has her own like lingerie business, so yeah, and then he just seems super hurt. Also, during the couples therapy session, they're 5 chairs away from each other. They have all these people in between them, and so then the experts were like, okay, everybody get up and move down so that Molly and Kelly can sit next to each other. Then he goes, no. And she's like, what do you mean now? So then they go into like the whole interview thing where it's just the two of them, the producers. And he's like, I didn't want to sit next to you because you didn't want to sit next to me. You know, but then you could have sit next to me. You could have gotten up and sat next to me. He said, well, you could have sit next to me. And they with the whole toddler conversation is just ridiculous. So then why they were attracted to each other, he said that she was like a good person. He liked that she gives back to charities and stuff. And then she's like, I like that you had goals, but now you don't, because he was a police officer and then he retired. And so she's like, I like that you had a job and power and like I said, goals and stuff, but now you're lazy. And then he says that you basically treat me like an employee and not an actual person. He's like, and I moved to Atlanta or moved to Georgia, and I told you never to move here. And he's like, and then you like gaslight me for that because I moved here for you, but then you don't like that. Yeah, you moved here for me, but you didn't move here for yourself. And you're not the same person. And then he's like, I don't even know who you are anymore. Like, if I knew you were going to be like this, I wouldn't have been with you. this whole thing. So that's kind of like a recap about what happened on episode uno. Yeah, it was crazy, to say the least. And this is the second time I filmed this. So last night I was a little more, well, I don't know. I guess yeah, this is the second time I filmed this. So hopefully I did okay. Maybe better. I don't know. We're focused now. But yeah, let me know if you guys are watching 90 Day Fiance, if you're just listening to like commentary on it. I love 90 Day Fiance. I love all the series. And I usually do beauty and more vegan content, but let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.